This is Jimi Hendrix, and this is episode 48. Do Hard Things, revisited on the Strenuous Life Radio. This is the Strenuous Life label, the radio, where men and women entrepreneurs learn the art of the strenuous life. Okay, I never thought that I would end on this note, but it's got to be done, okay? I was planning on trying to find something to do that is a little bit more Sabbath appropriate, but I guess in some ways this is it. This episode is in loving memory of my best friend, Keith Cotton. You know, he and I were good friends that hung out. You know, we went to the Insight for the Blind group meetings from not really getting close to each other from November 1987 until maybe the beginnings of it was in September of 1991. My girlfriend Tracy had just broken up with me, and Keith was concerned about my welfare. So in June of 1992, he took me under my wing. And by 1993, he instilled in me, little by little, the art of doing hard things. Of course, he called it trying new things. I'll give you a little story. It's June of 1993, okay? June of 1993. Now, because of my sight, some issues I've had with my birth father, I've had a fear of heights. But me and my buddy Keith, you know, we were both still relatively young. I was 22, 23, he was 29, 30. And he was always dogging me, like, won't you ever take a dare? And I was at that point where I was kind of impulsive, like, hey, you dare me, I'll do it. So, in June of 1993, I was working during the summer at the tutoring lab at Odessa College. And I would go swim at the sports center afterwards. I remember one day, Keith said, Jimmy, why don't you go off the high dive? I said, Keith, have you lost my mind? Have you lost your mind? I'm scared of heights. He said, Jimmy, you said you'd do it if I dared you. I dare you. I was like, crap, okay. So I climb up that sucker, and I'm like, scared. And I reached the tip. And you know what's funny is, I was just scared on my own. I thought, well, he'll never let me live it down if I don't do it. So I jumped off the high dive. And let me tell you something, it was exhilarating. It was exhilarating, and I came back, and I wanted to do it again and again. And at that point, Keith was like, Jimmy, I wish I should never dared you. Of course, one dare that he wanted me to do with him was riding roller coasters. And thank God, thanks to Julie, that didn't come true. See, there's doing hard things, but there's also having, a little bit of common sense. See, Julie started working for me in the spring of 1995 as a reader for me at Odessa College. And Keith would mention stuff like scuba diving. She's like, Jimmy, I'd be concerned of you going way down in there, in the ocean and everything. She said, you could get disoriented real easy. She said, Keith is a bit on the crazy side. Of course, the roller coaster thing didn't work out because, well, she and Keith parted ways on not so good terms. And so I'm at the point where it's like, okay, that's it. I began to see little by little early on that, with maybe some rare exceptions of when I went off to Texas Tech, the majority of my my close friends back home, with exception to Keith, did not want me to do hard things. Not the hard things that I'm disposed to do. And so here's the problem with that, okay? Here's the problem with that. The problem is, I think Generation X and the millennials decided at some point to try to do the easy way. I'm not saying everybody in Generation X. I've had some wonderful friends in Generation X that have done some hard things, you know. My college classmate Kevin at Texas Tech. I look at where he is, and it's because he had the gusto to get up and do hard things. Okay? Didn't I tell you something? Bishop Dave, you've heard him a few times. Or maybe at least one time on this podcast. He embodies doing hard things. And really, it was something that my granddad started drilling in me about doing hard things. He said, boy, you're never going to know you keep sitting on your bum and not trying. I want to see you try. Let me tell you something, that goaded me to try. And that's how I was able to graduate from Texas Tech University in 1998 with a bachelor's degree in political science. And that's how I attempted graduate school. And I think graduate school would have worked better, quite frankly, if I went to law school instead and not listened to some of the advice of my chief and tacky friends. Now, with exception, Keith was one of the ones that suggested graduate school as well. Of course, I don't blame Keith because, bless his heart, he was denied a chance to go to college. And he didn't know, unlike me, that there was a big difference between graduate school and law school. Do hard things. That's a big part of the strenuous life, okay? See, here's the problem with people that are not success-minded. Okay, this is going to be a bit of therapy, and might warn you, J.R. Hendrick might come out. Now just hold it. Boy's that age, 20 years old. His nephew's testing its limits. The kids are testing the limits because they want people to do the easy things. They need to be taught some valuable hard lessons. Like my daddy always said, you make your own path, you do your own way. Don't expect nobody to prop you up and bail you out. Now, my daddy was a hard man. He was a hard man. Sometimes I think my generation and these millennials, maybe not so much Generation Z, my generation and the millennials seem to want the easy way out sometimes. Let me tell you something, that's a problem. That's a problem. Men don't know how to be men anymore. To this end, to some degree. I gotta say, that's all I gotta say. Yeah, JR, that's enough. That's enough. I have an nephew right now that's testing my limits. And like JR, maybe I need to lay down the law. But I'm a tender-hearted man. I think doing hard things can help us overcome our insecurities. I know I have my share. We need to do hard things to build confidence. Becoming a self-published author was arduous in some ways and difficult. I remember one chapter of my book, we were bogged down for at least 2 or 3 different sessions trying to get it to make sense. And then, of course, April 17th of 2019, I collapsed and had to have brain surgery. Was laid up for about a month and a half. And then, strangely enough, that I made a massive comeback, became a self-published author. Now, I hope you enjoy listening to the Strenuous Life Radio. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and become a part of the Strenuous Life Radio community. Leave comments on YouTube and Spreaker. You can also check us out on Spotify, iHeartRadio. Always here to help you. This is Jimi Hendrix saying, until next time, don't just sit there and take it. Build your dreams so you can take it. Do what others don't so you can be what others won't. Do what others don't so you can have what others can't. Do hard things. Live strong. Think strong. And live the strenuous life.